Alright, let's get this over with. I'm the Crunchy Fat, and today I will be doing part 1 to What If Female Deku Was Poison Ivy. Now, this one was the one that got the most suggestions out of all the other what ifs that have been suggested to me, so I might as well get this out of the way first. So, we'll begin with Izumi's birth, with her being born in the United States. Hold on, give me a minute. As she's born to, I can't come up with a name because they're not gonna come up ever again after this. As when she is born, her abilities, know they're not quirks, have already manifested in the form of her being covered in like plant matter, like leaves and vines and all that. With these two little plants popping out from her back. As now, I know this is her look from Injustice 2, but this is the most child-friendly one. This is the most friendly one I could find, okay? The other one was a bit too spicy. So, her parents find her quirk villainous as she is dropped in an orphanage. She's just left there. After she's born, she's just left. With her growing up in this orphanage, with her only two friends being these plants out coming from her shoulder. I believe they're coming from her shoulder or the middle of her back. As she grows up, she begins to develop an attachment to other plants. Like, she can feel them like when they're hurt and all that. As she would begin to expand her abilities a bit more. So every day when she had nothing better to do, she would try to grow something simple, like I'll say a daisy in the middle of her hand. So every day when she didn't have anything to do, she would begin to practice by growing one in the middle of her hand. As she would practice this on and on until she finally got a little daisy in her hand, which she then put into the dirt as it grew. Now, she would be mainly focusing on enhancing her abilities to the point where she was about, I'll say by the time she's 10, she's about 50% of Canon Poison Ivy's power. And once she gets to her teen years, she'll be about 95%. So, now she is bullied due to how villainous these plants look. So she's constantly picked on, and she is given the nickname Poison Ivy. Due to one incident with bullies where her skin had grown out poison ivy, which in the case none of you have ever been jagged by poison ivy, it is very, very itchy. As she would be bullied, and whenever she tried to use her quirk, she would be given into trouble by the teachers and any staff members that were on site due to the bullies putting it as she attacked them first and they were just defending themselves. Now, they do believe the bullies because the bullies have quite heroic quirks, while her quirk is quite villainous. With Poison Ivy realizing this at the age of 10, that the world is unfair, and that no matter what she does, she'll not be seen as a hero. Now, this does lower her self-esteem a bit, and over the years, her self-esteem gets lower and lower and lower, to the point where she just stops going to school. Oh, hold on, give me a minute. Sorry about that. As I was saying, to the point where she begins to take online classes instead of going to actual school, where she graduates from her high school. And right now, she is about, I'll say she's 15 to 16 years old. And she decides to apply for UA, where she begins to fly overseas to get to UA. Now, I will be introducing other elements from DC, so like the Justice League and all that, and Themyscira, which is, for those of you who don't know, is the island where the Amazons live. Essentially, is where Wonder Woman comes from. Now, as the plane is about, it gets to Japan, it lands, and immediately as soon as she gets off the plane, there is a villain attack, and it is that giant villain now that the train station in canon, but instead of them being at the train station, they were at the airport, with them attacking with Kamui Woods and Mount Lady trying to deal with the situation. But I'll say that they're still quite inexperienced. No, Kamui Woods is still quite experienced, while Mount Lady is still quite inexperienced. As the villain is all of a sudden knocked out, as they notice that one of the members of the Justice League, being Barry Allen, also known as the Flash, arriving on the scene and taking out the villain, as there are a bunch of people clapping, just praising him for defeating the villain, as Izumi would continue walking towards UA to take their entrance exams, as she would then take the written portion of the exams, and she would end up scoring quite high on it. She scores higher than I almost said Nomu. She scores higher than Momo, but she isn't like Nezu smart. As she would then begin to as we then get to the physical portion of the exam. Now that is where I'm going to leave it off. And if you guys want to see another part to this one, do let me know, and I'll see you guys next time. And the next video I will post will be a discussion about the Xenomorph one. So those of you who wanted the Xenomorph one, be sure to stay tuned and do turn on the notifications so that you know whenever I post that. And I'll see you guys next time.